Hello, parents and students. Welcome to this week's episode of Mondays with Muroc. I'm Kevin Cordes, District Superintendent. Great to have you with us. First, I just want to say a big thank you to all of the parents who have been able to turn in the form for COVID-19 testing at school on our sites. If you still need to turn yours in, if you haven't been able to do so, please get that in as soon as possible. That is a big help for us. It lets us know what you want. And if you don't turn anything in, it just defaults to no. And we would rather know what your wishes truly are. Last week at our board meeting, I talked about we've had some parents who have made a request to be present when their children are being tested for COVID. So just as a reminder, the tests that we do are not PCR tests. Those go to labs. Those are the ones that go to the back of your cranium and really hurt. We do what's called a rapid antigen test. Very common. It's the same kind of test you normally find at a pharmacy that you can get your hands on. Those at-home kits that we sent home with all of you, those were rapid antigen tests. They go about a quarter or a half of an inch in the nose is all. And all we're looking for is to get some material on there. I think that's a better word than boogers and snot, but well, you tell me. We need some material, and that's how quick it is. It's very easy and painless for students. That being said, we do have some students, for example, students who are in a special day class. They're in special education, and they have exceptional needs. Quite honestly, if we had to test some of those students, it would probably be a help for your child and for you and the school for us all to get together and be present for that. There are a few students that would apply to. And when I say few, for those that are now thinking, well, my child has speech. Well, speech isn't a special day class. So I'm not saying that everybody in special education this would apply to. But for students that have exceptional needs in special education, we can work with you. Absolutely. For everyone else at this point, the way that Omicron is going through and the amount of people that are impacted by it, thank goodness it's an upper respiratory infection we've seen. The same thing that has been seen throughout the world, that our students are faring very well with it physically. Then it's not fun to have COVID. I'm not saying that. It's uncomfortable, but it's not deep into the lungs at this stage. But it's so much more transmissible that for us, as far as testing goes and being able to make those personalized calls every time, we just can't do that. So there's a few of you that are out there who haven't turned in a form at all. And what we are doing is, if your child has been, if they're symptomatic at school, or if they've been identified as a close contact, if we don't have permission to test them, you'll have to take them home for 10 days. Now, we have COVID clinics. If you wanted to come in and get your child tested to see how they're progressing along and if they're doing better, that we're totally open to that. But it does not necessarily, that doesn't change your ability to come back into class. So they'll have to sit out for the full 10 days. It's not to be punitive. It's just we have limited options from the state on how we can treat this for students. And those are the options we have. So if you have any concerns or questions, please reach out to your student's principal and ask those questions of them. If they don't know the answers, they'll tell you, I'm going to find out, and then they're going to make phone calls to myself, the nursing staff, Brent Tan, our assistant superintendent. He is all over this, and we'll get the answer for you. But just know that that's how we're moving forward. So we really appreciate everyone's patience and understanding with this. Again, as a reminder, as far as I know, we are the only school district that held that hard line from the beginning and have been able to continue it all the way up to this point of making those personal phone calls. It's just reached a point that we are unable to do that and still support the students and everything else that they're doing at school. So thank you very much for your support. This past week we had, this happens, I think it happens a lot in society right now, and that is we had an issue last week. It was an issue. It wasn't a life-threatening issue, but it was something, and a parent wasn't happy about the way that it went down, that everything happened. Completely understand. Sometimes we get frustrated. But rather than reaching out to the school to have a conversation, they chose to go to social media. And I'm just going to ask if you could do us a solid, and please, just if you have a concern, we would always ask you to reach out to the person that you have a concern with. Now, if you're very uncomfortable with that for some reason, maybe it's a staff member, then reach out to their supervisor. If it's somebody, if that person, for whatever reason, if nothing else, please just call my cell phone, 760-250-3210. I would rather you do that and that we can talk about it for a few reasons than go to social media. Number one is I'll know about it, or we will know about it immediately, so that we can address it with you. We can let you know what happened. We can hear what happened. We can investigate if we need to, and we can see if is it a problem that maybe is happening anywhere else, and is it something we need to correct? Number two, social media is just a monster that it gets put out there into the webosphere, and then it seems to just live forever. People go back, they reread those things, they see it, and it becomes the one representation of the school district. And I don't know about you, but I don't have time usually to go onto social media and brag up anybody. I've said this to a lot of people. My family owns a lot of restaurants back east, and I'll use this analogy with people. We'll tell 99 people about the bad meal that we had, but we only tell one person about the great restaurant. So if there is something, if we're being a bad restaurant, we want to know directly. I'd rather not have to find out about it through somebody coming to me and saying, I saw a complaint on social media. So come to us. We'd love to work with you directly. That's who we are. If anybody is not polite about that when it happens, I just gave you my cell phone number for a reason. Call me and let me know so that I can help you. Our goal is to make sure that every single child comes to school and then back home to you better than you gave them to us in the morning. So with that, I want to give a big shout out to some people. Our after school program, folks are just doing an amazing job, and a big thank you to them. For parents that are utilizing the after school program that the district operates, I want to let you know that we are going to continue that through the remainder of this school year. We're also taking a look at possibly having a summer program that would mirror that. We'll give you plenty of opportunities and plenty of lead time so that you can make arrangements for your family. But right now, we definitely want to let you know that you'll have those childcare options through us after school for the remainder of this school year. We're also looking at implementing a summer program that would mimic that for families that might need that need in the summer as well. Exciting time in education right now. Great time of the school year. Big shout out to all of our student athletes at the high schools that are just doing great things. Proms are coming up. Senior trips. I've been signing off on permissions for those different trips. So all of those traditional things that school provides, we're seeing those get to come back more and more and more. So thank you for being patient with us as we continue to work through with COVID. I did talk about this last week at the board meeting, but just to let you know, as of yesterday, the governor lifted the mandate for masks indoors for the state of California. Just know that if you look into that and read a little bit more, you might have noticed that every county then also gets to decide if they want to implement or not. So, for example, Los Angeles County came out immediately and said that they were going to keep their mask mandate. We're in Kern County. I haven't heard anything for Kern necessarily yet, but I know what LA County is doing. But for us in schools, and just to make sure that you understand this, that schools have not changed at all, that our mask requirements are in place and will continue to maintain and stay in place for the foreseeable future. If for those of you that are now saying, oh, come on, I get it, I totally understand. And as soon as we can get an answer as to when this might relax, you will be the first ones that I'll tell, I promise. So I just didn't want anyone to get confused and not pack a mask with their child. Hopefully you didn't do that today. If you did, no problem, we have plenty of masks. But the masks will be continued to be used at schools in California moving forward. You'll still be doing that. So Well, that's all the news for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. We hope that you have a wonderful week this week, and we'll see you next Monday for Mondays with Muroc. Bye-bye.